Hello, Savannah. Hello, Savannah. No, this is not Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter. This is not Alderman either. This is Lil Jamal Toure. That's right. The little man, Jamal Toure. I am filling in for a bit for Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter on Kandily Kesha. Yes. And there's some things that have been going on in this city for a long time. And we're here to talk about and celebrate it tonight. Excuse me. We may have some people joining us, and the old woman who is out doing the work right now here in the city of Savannah, meeting with some of the constituents. She will try to join us also. So we just say we will jump in and fill in for our sister, one of our sheroes here in the city of Savannah. And tonight, we're talking about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa 2021, but we're going to go back in time and give you all part of the foundation of Kwanzaa in Savannah. And yes, this year, we will have the Kwanzaa crawl, but there'll be some new elements tied to it. You can never expect the same thing with Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter and Jamal Toure and the whole litany of other supporters for the Kwanzaa crawl here in the city of Savannah. So yes, Kwanzaa in Savannah goes back in that. Excuse me, let me rewind. This would be the second annual Kwanzaa crawl in the city of Savannah that is tied to the 38th annual public Kwanzaa celebration. The Kwanzaa crawl this year, like last year, is for everyone. We're going to be supporting Black businesses, Black restaurants in particular. Kwanzaa crawl 2021 going into 2022. And so we started off January 1st of this year, and we now continue it to end it on December 31st of this year also. So we already had the first day of Kwanzaa this year. That's going to be a question that's going to be asked during one of the Kwanzaa nights. One of the nights we celebrate Kwanzaa during the Kwanzaa crawl. And so, yes, so we're going to be doing celebrations at night, but also 5 days we're going to be celebrating also during the day, or inviting people to support some of our restaurants during the day. And so, yes, we'll get into, again, as I started out, with regards to the origins of Kwanzaa in Savannah. Bear with me just for a second. Kwanzaa in Savannah goes back approximately 38 years. And that's what we mentioned. 38 years Kwanzaa crawl in Savannah, Kwanzaa in Savannah being celebrated publicly. That is, it starts out with Dr. Otis Johnson having public Kwanzaa celebrations. Later on, it would then evolve and with regards to the great queen mother of all of us with regards to Kwanzaa, Dorothy Cohen. And then we also had Sister Kathy Johnson involved with regards to Kwanzaa. She had an organization called Guardians of the Culture. Tied to that was Harambe House with Dr. Mildred McLean, Sister Bahati. And tied to that also some individuals you know by the name of Sister Betty Jackson, who's been a loyal supporter of Dorothy Cohen, Mrs. Cohen, along with Michael Porter, Brother Eugene Maxwell, Brother Nadra Nia Enzi. Nadra is no longer in the city, but Nadra is doing the work, again, that he's been doing in the city of Savannah. He's doing it in New Orleans, and then still carrying on that torch, carrying on that mantle. And so then also, I guess some people say, well, Jamal, you were part of it also. Yes, we were part of it. And with that, we then evolved with regards to now having Reggie Owens, along with his mother, Michelle Michael, also now carrying on the legacy of Kwanzaa in Savannah for the public celebrations. And there have been others who have done it in the city of Savannah also. But those are some of the ones that we know with the public Kwanzaa celebrations. Because eventually what happened, you'll have a daytime Kwanzaa program at the Youth Futures Authority, and Brother Bobby Williams will be the ones over there doing it, along with the organization known as the Harambe House, that is Sister Bahati, Dr. Mildred McLean. And so we are honored to continue the legacy. Two people I slipped up on, did not include. That is Alderwoman Bishop Estella Shabazz and former Commissioner Yusuf Shabazz, also playing a role with regards to the public Kwanzaa celebrations in the city of Savannah. And some people have heard me share this, and I'm going to share this when we have some of our celebrations, that Kwanzaa in Savannah was a stalwart, and probably one of the heydays of Kwanzaa in Savannah ran from the 1990s going into the early 2000s, because at the Tompkins Center, there'd be the celebration held there. And the center, in the Tompkins Center celebration, we would see hundreds of people each night. Again, you heard me say this. Hundreds of people each night, which meant that during the entire week of Kwanzaa, we had thousands there. And so with regards to those celebrations at the Tompkins Center, people were able to see speakers, see presenters, see performers, but they also began to see exhibits there. And that was a wonderful thing, wonderful time that many of our families, even today, still harken back to those days with regards to the celebration at Tompkins Center when we look at the heyday of the 90s and going the early 2000s. And later on, we see Kwanzaa begin to evolve also because we see other people now engaging in this practice, this celebration called Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa, for some of you, need to understand that it is not a religious holiday. It is not a religious holiday. It is not a substitute for Christmas. It is not a substitute for Christmas. It is not a substitute for Hanukkah. It is not a substitute for the Eid. It is a celebration with regard to a cultural expressions, a cultural celebration for all of us. All people can participate in Kwanzaa. Again, everyone can participate in Kwanzaa regardless of ethnicity. But precisely, it comes from an African foundation. Kwanzaa comes from an African foundation tied to the Nguzo Saba. Nguzo Saba is a key Swahili word that stands for the seven principles, And those seven principles are principles that we all can infuse in our lives on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And what's the first principle of Kwanzaa? That is umoja. That is unity. We all need to have unity. We need to have unity for success. That my greatness is not achieved by myself. My greatness is achieved because of you. And that is tied to unity. You never achieve greatness by yourself. Others help you to achieve greatness. That's the first principle. Second principle is a principle that I love, and that is kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. And that means self-determination. And I take it to another level with regard to Kwanzaa and, again, self-determination. It goes to a principle with regards to our factor for all of us that we need to define ourselves. We need to define ourselves. We need to determine who we are, and we need to be steadfast with regard to the definition of who we are and determining where we go as a person and as a people collectively. Yes. And that's something that's been used by Dr. Yusuf bin Yakinen, where he said, man names himself so he can be addressed accordingly. And so that's a part of Kujichagulia, that you define who you are. You define yourself. You name yourself. And so that's what this principle is, again, important principle to me with regards to defining who I am, self-definition, that I'm not like a leaf in the wind where I go wherever the wind blows. I am a sacred tree. I'm a rooted tree, rooted in the soil. So no matter where the wind blows, my limbs may move, but guess what? I'm still rooted in the soil. And so and that's what we do with regards to that principle called Kujichagulia. We define ourselves so we are rooted in the soil. So that's the second principle, Kujichagulia. The next principle, the third principle, is Ujima. Ujima. Some say Ujima, some say Ujima. Ujima means collective work and responsibility. Collective work and responsibility. And you heard our councilwoman constantly go and talk about the least and the left out. That's a part of collective work and responsibility, that we have to look out for those people who cannot look out for themselves. We must serve people who are not able to work for themselves. And when I say work for themselves, I'm not talking about manual labor. I'm saying who do not have the skill sets to help save themselves out of dire situations. So that means that we collectively come together to address and save them and help them. But when it comes to success, that's the same thing we do. We also then go with regards to successfully working together to build all of us up. That we look out for the least in the society to elevate them, because when we elevate them, guess what? We all become elevated. There is a proverb or a part of scripture that talks about, that is for some African people, that's embraced by some African people, which they say that paradise lies at the feet of the mother. That's one thing. Paradise lies at the feet of the mother. Another one goes, you know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. You know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. And so I throw all those two together just to like give you a thought about something, that paradise lies at the feet of the mother. That if we treat our women right, if we treat our mothers right, our wives right, our daughters right, our sisters right, our girlfriends right, that we will then basically enter into paradise. Our nieces right, our aunts right, our grandmothers, we treat them right, we will then enter into paradise. But it's not just with regard to you just treating them right, but it's also not elevating them, because you know the condition of society based on the condition of the women. So if women are oppressed, then that means that society is oppressive. I'll repeat. If women are oppressed, then that means that that society is oppressive. And it's oppressive not just for women, but for men, children also. For all people are oppressed. So when women are not elevated, that means that the society is not elevated. And often in this country right here, when I pose that question to folks, what's the status of women? We go and look outside of here and talk about how women are affected outside of here or how they're treated outside of here. When I tell folks, no, I need you to look at here. I need you to put the mirror on yourself and look at how women are treated here, because we need to elevate them, because paradise lies at their feet. And so collective work and responsibility is about that. It's about us working collectively together to elevate all of us. And so guess who are the people that we need to elevate even more? Children and the women in our society. But then that pertains to all of us will be elevated. Men, we don't have to get caught up into issues about whether elevating women is basically chauvinistic to them. No, that shows you that, again, it empowers all of us. And so, again, glad to have you, Sister Cecilia Cook. But again, women, we must be the ones. We must make sure women are taken and elevated so we all can elevate collective work and responsibility. That's the third principle. The fourth principle is one that we often talk about. We talk about certain things. We have certain phrases that we go and say. We talk about generational wealth and success. We talk about wealth for generations. And so this fourth principle goes to that principle of ujama. Some people say ujama. And so for those of you that's not joining us, as I said to y'all, hello, Savannah. I am not old woman Keisha Gibson Carter. She's out there in the fields doing the work. She's out there in the wilderness, brother Aunt Maven, doing the work. As you say, voices in the wilderness, voices in the struggle. That's what's going on. She's out there in the wilderness right now, in the struggle, celebrating and working on behalf of the people. That's what she's doing. So I'm sitting in for her tonight. Sister Reverend Betty Jones. Yes, Sister Henrietta Hills. So that's why you see me here. If she can, she will join it. And maybe some other people also who have been invited to come on. But back to the principle of Ujamaa. Ujamaa is cooperative economics. As I shared, many of us talk about this today. We tout this today. We go and engage in this thing about having wealth for generations. It got to be done cooperatively, collectively. It got to be done together. We must build wealth together. It is not something that's just self-serving. Capitalism tells you that it's all about you accumulating the wealth. And when you accumulate the wealth in capitalism, you're supposed to just hold it and hoard it to yourself. No. On the traditions that are coming from Africa, you have the wealth to be able to aid other people who are less fortunate. Collective work and responsibility. That is Kujachagalia, self-determination. That is Umoja. That is unity. That, again, you gather wealth, yes, to take care of yourself and your families, but wealth also to help those who are the least and the left out in this country, in this community, in this city, in this town, in this nation. So that's why Ujamaa is important to us, because it's about us building and spending monies in our communities. Right now, the numbers say that, well, depending on certain numbers, one number says that the African-American dollar spends less than 1 hour in the Black community. Less than 1 hour in the Black community. That's what one set of numbers say. There's another set of numbers say that the Black dollar, the African-American dollar, spend 1 day, less than 1 day in the entire Black community. So you either got 1 day or 1 hour. We've seen the dollar roll over in our communities, but in other communities, it's there for days, it's there for weeks, rolling over in their communities, and you can see the wealth. And we go and see here a historically marginalized people economically who have been attacked on an onslaught of various forms of discrimination, of racism, of economic disenfranchisement. We have seen that. There's no reason for us to try to argue about that and to get despondent about that, to try to defend this. We have seen this historically. I'm not giving you anything that none of us have not seen and have witnessed and has been discussed in this country for centuries. So Ujamaa is about us now spending dollars in our community, supporting one another economically so we can benefit everyone in the community. Again, collective work and responsibility. Again, self-determination. Again, umoja, unity. So we see that with cooperative economics because, again, we're able to uplift our communities. The next principle is the principle of Nia. Now, many people, when they hear Nia, they tend to think about this principle that they say purpose. Now, people who know me, and some of y'all have come to the Kwanzaa programs at the Tompkins Center and at other places, and also on the Kwanzaa Crawl, I tell people that Nia is not just about purpose, but it's about divine purpose. And excuse me, I need to rewind. Divine purposes. Yes, we all have purposes in our life. Not one purpose, but we have several purposes in our lives, and that's why we are here. That's why we've been ordained to be here by the Most High, by the Creator. Whatever name you use for that higher power, we have been put here by the Creator to have an impact on this world. And the impact that we should have on this world is one that is beneficial to the world, not destructive to the world. So Nia is about that principle. That is a principle of divine purposes. And so with that, we understand that that gives us a mission. It gives us an objective in our daily lives, that we should be about trying to make the world better for someone else, so that someone else could then carry that on to others for generational success and wealth. Again, going to the same principle of Ujima, going to the principle of collective working responsibility, Ujima, going to the principle of Kujichagalia, of self-determination, definition, defining of self, and the principle of Umoja, that first principle that brings it all together for all of us. Then we move on to another principle that, again, that when I go and share with folks, again, we had Nia, we go to this next principle, and this principle is one that people try to minimize, and they just think that it's something fanciful. It's about the art. It's about artwork. That this principle is called Kuuma, creativity. And many times people think about creativity, they think it's just tied to the arts. I tell folks, no, creativity, Kuuma, is actually tied to genius. That's what it is. Creativity, for you to think a new way, to develop new ways, or to showcase things in a different way, that is tied to genius. And we try to minimize Kuuma to just creativity tied to art. I tell folks, no, that's tied to genius. And so that is a principle of genius, because guess what? This right here, this dome right here that you have here, this sacred dome has a way to change the world, has the power to change the entire world. That's what happened. Many times our world is changed based on the dome right here, the genius that's right here, that now comes out to change the entire dynamics as to how we function and what we do today. This very device that we're on right now, we tell folks, share Kandily Kesha, share. Again, those of you, I'm sitting in for Kandily Kesha, that is our alderwoman, because she's out in the field, in the forays, in the byways and the highways of this city and this town to basically make sure the people are taken care of. So I'm sitting in. And so with regards to that genius, that creativity, I was on a roll right now, but you just go. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep it rolling. That's what happened. She just busts up like that. But again, and hello to Tia Bright, Sister Tia Brightwell. Yes, one of the people that will be honored, doing the Kwanzaa Crawl, and Sister Anna Davis. So again, that creativity, that genius, that we will not be on this device right now if it was not for someone who had this idea in their dome to create a device like this for us to be able to communicate across the entire world. That's the power that we have right now. Before, it took people years, months to get information around the entire world. Right now, we have a device called a cell phone or a computer or a laptop or a pad. We have smartphones and all of that today that we can communicate around the entire world. And it came from the genius, the creativity, the Kuuma. And the last principle of Kwanzaa, which is actually the first principle of each year, that is Imani, faith, spirituality. That again, we will not be here today if it was not for, again, that Creator who created us and shaped and fashioned us with this divine purpose in our life, that now go forward to now define who we are, name who we are in the spirit of collective work and responsibility with regards to this unity, and now creating this cooperative economics that now build an entire community that is one that is successful for generations and also has wealth for generations, that we are now able to elevate all in this society, that we all benefit from it. And so that's what Imani is about faith, pulling together, showing that, again, this divine purpose that you have given to you by your Creator, because none of us are here by accident, and that is no accident, as I told y'all, that she was out there on the byways, the forays, and the highways of this city, of this town, working on behalf of the least and the left out in this community. And we're glad to have on Kandily Kesha, as I say, hello, Savannah. Now I say, hello, Alderman Kesha Gibson Carter. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Jamal, and hello, Savannah, and hello to my Kandily Kesha audience. Listen, I am so grateful to ATR, Mr. Julius Hall, and most grateful to the incomparable, the intrepid, the spirited, the comical, the historical, the knowledgeable, Dr. Amir Jamal Toure. Thank you so very much for continuously filling in the gap. As we're going about our way today, and as I pause for a moment, I said to Alderwoman Blakely, my concern about moments like this, when you have to pitch hit to someone who's not give you all kind of stats, ask you so many questions, or complain, show up, show out, and deliver. Who will be the next Dr. Jamal Toure? Who will be the next Matthew Southall Brown? Who will be the next Adele Cheever? And that's why the spirit of Kwanzaa is so relevant and so necessary and so needed, because we have to be the constant reminders of whence we came. We have to know that we have a responsibility beyond ourselves. And Dr. Toure, as I listen to the work that you've done on the show tonight, giving us the historical perspective from the origin of our community celebration here in Savannah, recognizing that nationwide Kwanzaa started 50 years ago in response to riots that broke out in the African American community, and in the quest and plea for unity and peace, this holiday was established. As you so eloquently acknowledge, it's not a replacement for any other holiday that we celebrate. As you see here, a Christmas tree behind me, my household, my home is Christian. Nonetheless, as we went through 2019 into 2020, I recognized that we were eclipsing numbers related to violent crime and homicide in our community among primarily African American men and boys. And the first thought that comes to my mind when I see such episodes is, do they not recognize how valuable they are? Do they not recognize how needed they are? Do they not recognize the plight, the depression, the sadness, and the trauma that they leave behind on people who care and love them, who then become unable to conform, unable to be a part of community, unable to be healthy in society? If they only knew, if they only knew. And so Kwanzaa came into my spirit, and I thought, what a wonderful holiday to reintroduce to our community and help this demographic in particular understand how valuable they are. An extra added layer in why this program was established as an event in our community was my frustration and aggravation with the fact that $1.2 million was set aside for local businesses in our community in 2020 amidst the COVID relief funds. When I learned that of the 50 businesses who were recipients, only 2 were African American, I was incensed in that they were the business who primarily struggled the most. Yes, we had businesses owners of all race and backgrounds, but the majority of them who closed doors, who folded, were of African American descent. And so I said, how can we respond in an effort to drive economics to those businesses? And in exploring that, I discovered that of the over 600 restaurants in the city of Savannah, fewer than 5% of them were owned by African American individuals. Nonetheless, you could find in the kitchen of those over 600 restaurants an African American, from dishwasher to head chef.
Yes.
So why are we not owning them? And then I started to build on these thoughts. These thoughts turned to ideas, and then that creativity kicked in.
That genius, yes.
That creativity kicked in, where I wanted to help others establish and recognize their purpose, their greater purpose beyond them. And that's what this public service is all about. This public service, this office is all about purpose beyond Keisha Gibson.
Yes.
Purpose beyond the Carter household. Mm-hmm. I said to somebody just the evening, sometimes, serving gets so difficult, it gets so hard. I wish I didn't care so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have a moment of selfishness. But in that same voice, in that same vein, I recognize that my life is not my own. Mm-hmm. And that I have a choice in this assignment that I'm on. And so with that, we want to introduce to you for a second year in a row, Kwanzaa Crawl, y'all. Kwanzaa Crawl 2021-22.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have the spirit of unity, the spirit of self-determination. Listen, it's everything that we can imagine that's good. And you also so eloquently acknowledge that while this is an African American heritage holiday, it is not synonymous with separatism. Here, we welcome everyone, just like we celebrate Cinco de Mayo, just like we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And you know what? Individuals from that culture, from those cultures, they can attest to that during their celebration, they generate the most money of the year. And that's what we want to make Kwanzaa for Savannah. We want to make Kwanzaa in Savannah for African-American businesses what St. Patrick's Day is for white-owned businesses, for what Cinco de Mayo is to Hispanic and Mexican. Mexican-owned establishments. And so with that, we want to dedicate this platform to Kwanzaa 2021-22. And welcome, as we are speaking, the second day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. When this week, yes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have this all down. I'm going to have it all down.
Yeah, yes, uh-huh. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Toure has been a taskmaster. I have been working on this program, and he has held me to the case. And you also have Miss Brightwell, who will be one of our recipient charities for Kwanzaa. So we are excited to talk about the different elements of Kwanzaa. So the different elements of Kwanzaa consist of, Dr. Toure, this year, and I know you got tired of me texting you at 2:00 in the morning, at 3:00 in the morning, Dr. Jamal, guess what we're going to do this year? And so this year we are keeping with all of the restaurants that were with us last year. We have one new one, however. We're welcoming Creole Kitchen. And because we rolled out Kwanzaa Crawl during the pandemic, we knew that we could not carry big crowds. So it's still sort of catching on. And so we wanted to sort of keep with the same restaurant so that we can maintain some continuity. But at the same time, we want to fold in new restaurants when we can. And so Creole Kitchen is our newest restaurant. Also in our lineup is our first one is Liquid Cafe. Is that the first night of Kwanzaa? No, the first night
Odyssey. Mm-hmm.
Odyssey. And
with Dr. Lillian Williams and DJ Postman. DJ Postman is fine. It's Dr. Williams that's the problem. Oops.
Listen, you are not allowed to talk about people's football team choice in the schools they went to. I mean, you have to leave that out of our Kwanzaa celebration service. We don't want any of that warrior foolishness going on. So can we keep it with Kwanzaa, Dr. Toure? And you know what? We are requiring for our presenters African American attire. So don't roll up in our Kwanzaa celebration with a Warrior Jenkins High School t-shirt, sir, please. In fact, the last I checked, those were all sold out. So here's how this all works. We have a restaurant that will serve as the backdrop for the celebration each night. The first night, Dr. Toure, is Odyssey on Abercorn Street. Dr. Williams and Art Williams will open their doors and welcome this festive bunch. The host for the evening will be Lester and Sonia Jackson, brother and sister. However, I think we're going to have to do a little switcheroo for them. They have a little bit of a conflict. But, Dr. Toure, guess what? The idea of incorporating our local elected officials was to bring government to the people. How genius was that?
That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the politicians could be in the House and the citizens could have access to them. So you know what? When you are talking to Senator Lester Jackson, ask him about his run for labor commissioner. Ask him about what he do for you in the Senate before he goes. Ask Jackson about your property taxes. Ask her about how you can get a homestead exemption, right? So that's part of us being deliberate with this.
Yes.
And also, Dr. Toure, also, you will be our first speaker for the night. You will be the first historian among the other 6 historians we have in the lineup to take us down that road of history. You always drop such rich nuggets. And what I really want you to do, I want you to connect with some young person. And I know you did a lot of this at Savannah State and you're now doing it at Georgia Southern. But my concern is, who will come behind you? How do you replicate yourself? Because when you take us to school and you start dropping those nuggets, you open up world. I learn so much every time I talk to you. So I'm so excited to know that we will be joined by Pat Gunn and who else do we have? Miss Vonette Good Walker, Mr. Johnny Brown. Who else do we have, Dr. Toure?
Dr. Christina Davis.
Dr. Christina Davis.
Sister Faith Appia.
Yes. Who else? We have somebody else.
Lillian Baptiste.
And yes, Lillian Baptiste, Christina Davis, Johnny Brown, Vonette Good Walker, Faith Appia, and Pat Gunn. Listen, these people are a walking wealth of history and knowledge. And when I tell you, when they present, they don't just talk. They create and they set the atmosphere for the time of which they are presenting. And then that second night, Dr. Toure, we are going to be at Two Chefs.
Yes, ma'am.
And we are joined by Miss Taylor. Miss Taylor, tell us about you. You were on the crawl last year and you were so excited about it. And we just took over MLK. Tell us about it.
Well, last year Kwanzaa was absolutely astonishing. A great experience. I'm waiting to experience again this year. Last year, I didn't get a chance to really partake as much in it as far as my day because I was in the kitchen, but visiting all the other restaurants and lounges, it was like phenomenal. The history, just hearing a lot of stuff that I didn't know, it was an impact. I mean, we didn't miss a night. We went every single night.
That's right.
And not only that, you brought like 2/3 of your 15 children with you.
Right. Absolutely. If the weather hold up where it's not so cold, I'll probably bring the little ones this year. But if it's cold, I won't. But I'm waiting. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what it's going to unfold. I really am.
Well, I want to just thank you for being a gracious host, and you went way out. You did more than what we asked. You were really kind and giving to the people, and so we were just really excited. And this year, tell your husband I don't want any excuses. I want the peach cobbler on the menu tonight, on that night. Please, ma'am.
Okay, I will let him know. I will let him know. I'm traveling, so if we're breaking up, that's probably why I'm traveling back home to Savannah.
Okay, and the charity that we have for your night is actually Through It All Ministries, and we have Miss Tia Brightwell with us tonight. And Tia, we're so excited to fold you into the program this year. One of the things I wanted to do was to capture some of the charities who don't really get the love mainstream, but you all are on the front lines of doing the big work, if you will.
Doing the work, that's right.
As well work, and Dr. Toure, he basically served as the cheerleader for that particular effort. He said, we have to be about the business of helping recognize some of these charities who are not a part of the in crowd, if you will.
Yes.
And, Tia, tell us about Through It All Ministries, what it is that you do. And before I forget, one of the things I wanted to add, Dr. Toure, to ask Tia is if you could connect with Glenada, who is also one of our strong community activists, and get the Black Voters Matter group out so that we can get people registered to vote as well. Tia, tell us about your ministry.
So you're using the word ministry. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? You're using the word ministry. TIA Through It All Incorporation. It is a ministry. It is a ministry. We started from our hearts, our experiences. Glenada and I both went through NLA, Neighborhood Leadership Academy, through Step Up Savannah. That's where we met. Through that process, we learned a lot about government. We learned more about the things that were happening right under our noses. And coming out of that class, graduating, when I asked her about becoming a founder, she basically was like, "Girl, you're crazy. Something's wrong with you." She was like, "I need to go pray about this." And and so she did. And from there, we've been able to reach kids in a way that I can't say that most adults are doing, because these kids have, TikTok, they have social media. And if you're not able to pop a TikTok with these children, it's like you're not having a conversation with them. And being able to mentor them through TikTok, through anti-bullying, and then engaging into the families. And we know it's a process, right? One thing I always tell my team is one interaction at a time. So I don't want people to get the perception that we are trying to gain all of this popularity, saying that we're helping thousands of people. We're helping families one interaction at a time, one event at a time. The Kwanzaa, I read ours and it said self-determination. We're determined. We're determined to do exactly what you're doing, which is bringing people together, bringing them together. And no, it may always something, I'm just learning since you said ministry, I'm going to say this. He says, takes the foolish things to confound the wise. So what maybe look foolish to someone else, what we're doing is we're giving wisdom to the people that we work with. And so this self-determination, this Kwanzaa night that you chose us for, that's what we have in a low income families and the families that's struggling in poverty. And I can go on and on about my families, but I won't, because we're just excited about the work. We're excited about how the council has made it possible for TIA to continue to work with the budget that just was approved. The work won't go unnoticed. We're a grassroots organization. We have a lot of love, right? We may not be big in numbers, but we're huge in love and we're huge in God. And we thank y'all for this opportunity to be a part of this Kwanzaa. We were not a part of the first one. I was not even able to participate. But we're grateful for this time. All things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and that are called according to his purpose. Blessings.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Alderman Kesha Gibson Carter, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Well,
Are there problems?
Oh, no, ma'am. Well, yeah, there is a problem, but that's why I'm going. Now I have my hand up. I'm going to share this with you. You have casted a aura over me. You put something on me, and so the first night of Kwanzaa, I'm doing emoji. And so you try to throw some parameters on me. You try to confine me. You try to put me in a box. And I tell you, you cannot put me in a box. You can't put me in a box. I don't play that video. I can go in boxes. And so you try to put me in a box.
Before you start the foolishness, though, Unity, excluded from Unity is anything related to high schools or HBCUs. I mean, can we just keep it to the principals, please? I mean, seriously. Really?
Well, Dr. Toure, I would say this. My son Donald actually decided that he wants to go to Jenkins. He wants to be a warrior.
Sister Tina, woo, woo. Oh, okay. I'm be calm.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's all good. Thank you. God bless you, Sister Tia. Okay, thank you.
He's following his mama, not really you now, because I am a warrior. I don't care what nobody thinks. I went to Jenkins High School right off of the rim. I lived on Timberline Drive. I'm
Right around the corner.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We in heaven right now. I told y'all. God is an alumni HBJ. Oh my God. Oh my God. You heard the word. You heard the ministry. And see, that's what I was getting to. Because there was a blue jacket that tried to be ununified, not having their unity, because he had listened to you, Uncle Keisha Gibson Carter, and that is Reverend Dr. Leonard Small. He tried to talk about me, he put his little comment in there, talking about unity, talking about Jamal, Toure, unity. He tried to besmirch my character because you did that. But guess what? Look how the warrior kept. You ain't even know that. See how God just showering Sister Tia down. Shh. Yeah. That's what God does, because God is a warrior. Oh Lord, I ain't gonna say no more.
And Julius, my baby was not sleeping when he made that decision. Thank you very much, Mr. Hall.
Listen, joining us on that night will be our DA, our district attorney of Chatham County, our first African American district attorney of Chatham County, Miss Shalina Cook Jones. She will be our host for the night at Two Chefs. And so this sister, she brings her own kind of fire. I mean, between the history and the spiritual, listen, she's probably going to take us to church. So we are going to turn MLK at 37th Street out. Be ready, Miss Taylor. Tell your husband to have the
We will be
ready. I don't want any excuses this year. And then we're going to move from Two Chefs. We're going to go across the town. Sort of across town, but just up the street to Cool Vibes. Cool Vibes with our brother JB and Wendy. Wendy has the best oxtail pizza, the only oxtail pizza in the city of Savannah. Did y'all hear me? Oxtail pizza. Who does that? Oxtail pizza? There's some salmon in here. Really? Oxtail pizza. Cool Vibes. On that night, we will be hosted by commissioners from Chatham County. Again, y'all, come enjoy the festivities, but most of all, we want you to engage in community. We want you to be a part of community. So come and talk to Commissioner Tanya Milton and Commissioner A. Whiteley and tell them about what's going on in your community, what you want to see, what your issues are, or you know what? You may want to thank them for something that they've already done. On that night, Dr. Toure, who are we hosted by way of our historian? Cool Vibes is
Johnny Brown.
Johnny Brown. Yes, Johnny Brown. And Mr. Brown, tell us about Mr. Brown's. He has a business in the city, a tour business. What's the name of his tour business, Dr. Toure?
Freedom Trail. And you have a tour business as well. And so one of the other things we want to do is we want to encourage our local citizens to take advantage of these tour opportunities. I had the opportunity after our inaugural, the day after, I had some family and friends in town, and we were hosted by Dr. Toure, and I learned so much. And my friends from all over the United States who were here, they were fascinated by the knowledge and the education that he was able to share with us about our history. If people don't know, how does that adage goes? People fail because of the lack of knowledge. How does that go? What is it? See, I don't know. What is it? People perish for the lack of knowledge.
People perish for the lack of knowledge. That's right, sis.
People perish for the lack of knowledge. Once again, Kwanzaa crawl, y'all. Savannah Kwanzaa crawl, y'all. 2020-21. That's why we're here. And then we are going to go up the street around the corner to 520 Tavern. We're coming back over on the south side, and we will be hosted by Mr. Gary Gordon at 520. We're so excited. Now listen, between Two Chefs, Cool Vibes, and 520, we also have a cadre of vendors. Now, these vendors will probably have to brave the cold. Well, do y'all think it'll be as cold next week as it is tonight?
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping. I haven't looked at it. I'm hoping not. Because, we have been warm. We had pleasant weather, for several days. So I'm hoping that it's going to be the same. So, yes.
Well, I hope so. If so, we'll try to make some accommodations with some outdoor heating elements. But for the most part, we are planning to have local vendors out. So, y'all save some of your Christmas money for Kwanzaa, because between your meals for the week, supporting the vendors, supporting our local artists, and supporting our charities. And we're asking our local charities to create some fundraising mechanism by way of an auction, whether it's silent or live, or some gifting opportunity, if you will, or it could just be sharing their Cash App. So we are excited about having them be supported as well. Then after 520, after we get those lemon pepper wings, and what's that other thing you like at 520 that you told Gary that he has something at 520 on Victory Drive that they don't have at 520 on Abercorn? What is that, Dr. Toure?
The tropical punch, the tropical punch, the tropical punch. The tropical punch, yes.
What's good about the tropical punch, Dr. Toure, and why are you so upset about it?
It's addictive. It's lemony. It's citrusy. It's fruity. It's all that. It is Kwanzaa. It is Kwanzaa. It's Kwanzaa.
Okay, I got you. So listen, at 520, Representative Derek Mallow, our state representative, will be on hand as our host, and he will help us throughout the night as well. So we're excited about that. And the charity for that night is, Dr. Toure, I had all this stuff lined up. What's the charity for that night? Where are my notes?
I'm about to give it to you, because I was going to bring up Frank Callen's Boys and Girls Club.
And you know what, guys? Frank Callen Boys and Girls Club is actually and look up the historian for that night too, Dr. Toure. They are in the.
I know. I was going to tell you, but go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead.
But you with me, right, Dr. Toure?
Yes, mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I like this dude, because you know what? Dr. Toure just did a darn thing. I don't have to tell him 2,000 ways to skin a cat. Listen, Frank Callen Boys and Girls Club are in the middle of a capital campaign. They will be breaking ground pretty soon on a new location in the 5th District. We're so excited about their new location. They are expanding, fucking pools, outdoor basketball courts, the whole nine. I'm so excited for this organization, and we want to do everything possible to be able to help them raise funds. So be there on December 28th, 6 to 8, cool vibes, support the, I'm sorry, that's 520 December 29th, support the Boys and Girls Club. December 30th, Thursday.
The historian is going to be Dr. Christina Davis from Savannah State. But hold on a second, I got a call. Oh, Lord. What do you say? Yes, Sister T is right here. As you know, she's right here. And you say what? At 520, you say our state representative Derek Mallow is a graduate of what? Herschel B. Jenkins High School also?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. We let them know. Yes, Reverend Dr. Smalls knows that. And also Councilwoman Alicia Miller Blakely. They now have heard that again. You got Sister Tia Brightwell, Jamal Toure, Derek Mallow, and you, Lord. It's all good. Kwanzaa Crawl 2021. Oh, bye, Lord.
This is what I have had to learn on when I'm not fighting.
I need this laugh. I need this.
Out with the response, and this is one of those things. So we're going to move on. I can't compete with it. December 30th, we will be at our 5th night of Kwanzaa. Okay, guys, by the 5th night of Kwanzaa, I'm tired. I gained about 3 pounds. In my bank account, I'll be transferring some funds right now. By the 5th night, that's what I'm doing. The 5th night, I'm tired. I'm 3 pounds heavier, and I'm transferring funds from account to account. This is such an awesome event. It's just you lose yourself in it. And by the 5th night, Dr. Toure, 15 to 20 people, you start seeing the same people every night. So then guess what happens, Dr. Toure? We start building what? Community.
That's right. That's
You,
right. That's right. That's right.
we start participating in corporative economics.
That's right. Absolutely.
The engine and the train is moving. And we had a dear sister, I don't know if you were able to make contact with her, Candace. Candace was feeling it so good by the 5th night, and she said, you know what, y'all, what can we do to continue this? We should do this during Kwanzaa for 7 days. We should do this all year. And so she came up with another phenomenon, another creative idea, and it was Kwanzaa Crawl Continue. And then it kind of fizzled a little bit, but me, you, and her, Dr. Toure, we was going strong for a couple months.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I think I was getting too slim and we was gaining too much weight, but we kept it going throughout the year. And so then, have we covered everything, Dr. Toure? We have our host, Dr. Judge Tammy Stokes. That night, she's also running for a higher post for Superior Court judge. And so we're so excited to be in supporting her in that effort. And the charity for that night is
Save Our Youth Savannah.
Save Our Youth Savannah with my girl, Latasha Barnes. Listen, that chick is a beast of a community activist and community servant, a servant leader. From feeding kids, clothing drives, Thanksgiving giveaways, you name it. Tia, she often calls myself, Alderwoman Blakely. She's helping people, saving them from eviction.
Yeah.
Everything. And so we're excited to.
Sister.
Yes, she is. And you know, how does the old people in Kojic, they say, you have to give yourself out of your need, right? And
right.
She gives herself out of her need, right? And so we're excited to support her charity. Did I cover our actors list? Oh, Dr. Toure, I'm not.
Oh, now I'm gonna say, and we're gonna be at Liquid Cafe.
Bonnet.
Yeah, Bonnet Guild Walker, but we're going to the place is Liquid Cafe. I just want to make sure the people know.
Yes, on Abercorn Street. But tell us about this sister, Bonnet.
Sister V, better known as Sister V, Bonnet Guild Walker. She is the owner of Footprints of Savannah, a walking tour here, a historian, and also a person who's an activist with regards to trying to establish policies on how to preserve our history and our culture here. So again, one of our great sisters right here. She went to St. Vincent's, but okay. Oops. But I think Sister Moraleo said something. Sister Moraleo said that Two Chefs is actually an HBJ school. Restaurant. That's what Sister Moraleo, Sister Taylor said. Is Taylor, we're going to mute you right now.
Adam Smashers.
Mr. Producer, I need to mute Taylor. I need to mute Moraleo.
Adam Smashers. Smashers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh goodness.
This is why we need Kwanzaa, because of the rebellion. We need Kwanzaa because of stuff like this.
No. HPGA, they good. They good warriors, but we'll smash them. We'll Adam smash.
Now, Dr. Toure, about our next night, which is Friday night, December 31st, generally Thursday night. Oh, Dr. Toure, Thursday, tell us the unique piece about Thursday, though, because Thursday in Kwanzaa is actually the night of the feast. Is that the 5th night? Is that the night of the feast? No?
The Karamu.
Uh-huh.
So, no, we're gonna do it. Right. That's what we moved on. Right. That's why we moving on to the next night. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a night of Kaumba. So yeah.
Yes, and that's Friday, December 31st at
Mm-hmm.
the newest restaurant, which is Creole Kitchen.
Right.
Creole Kitchen, and the host is none other than my BFF in service, Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely. And y'all, she usually jazzes it up. So look for some interesting elements to come out of that representation on the Friday, December 31st. And we will have as our activist and our charity, Dr. Toure, can you tell us who that is?
That's going to be Inner City Night Shelter. That's going to be the charity. And Faith Apia is going to be our presenter. That's going to be the activist. And that is the night of the feast. That's going to be the Karamu right there. And so I'm going to say this. Ignore whatever Alderman Alicia Miller Blakely says. Ignore what she says because, again, they're a little prejudicial. She and Reverend Smalls and also Alderman Keisha Gibson Carr about Savannah High. Bernard Brown, the second night, Monday night, that's going to be at Two Chefs. That's where it's going to be. So, Cecilia Cook, please, with that. Wolverine Nation, please stop. This is what I'm talking about. That's why we need Kwanzaa, because we got to bring some unity here right now. Unify with God. God is an alum of HVJ. God wants y'all unified. So that's what's happening on the night, on Friday night, which, again, that's going to be the feast, the Karamu. And so we want to see y'all there because it's going to be a great time because, again, we have the great feast at Creole Kitchen on Victory Drive. And so that's the new one that was added on to this wonderful Kwanzaa Cross Celebration 2021. And then going to 2022, bam, that's the 7th day of Kwanzaa.
Woo!
Celebration.
Woo!
First day of the year. And that is Imani.
And we will be with Miss Belinda Baptiste at Unforgettable Deli and Bakery. Listen, between those juices, those fresh pressed juices, the beet, the apple, the ginger, the turmeric. I left one or two of them out, Dr. Toure. Those
hibiscus.
Hibiscus. I promise you to God. I promise you that those juices will heal whatever is ailing you right now. I'm gonna go in here and I'm about to down my turmeric. I still have my turmeric left, Dr. Toure. The juices, and then those meat pies. Oh my goodness, the meat pies. And Belinda Baptiste is probably one of the most charitable women in this city. And she has an organization called Unforgettable Dream Kids, where she actually pays for the college tuition, full college tuition for a deserving child. And so we are really excited to be able to support her again this year in those efforts. But this is one of those businesses, Dr. Toure, that went during and post-COVID from a thriving business to one that was barely being able to hold her door. And so right now, transition her business model. She's doing a lot out of our farmers market. And so she's not open as much as she used to be, but she is opening her doors on Eisenhower Street to us. And we're so grateful for that. And so we are at the 7th day of Kwanzaa. And in the Bible, in the Christian faith, 7 is the number of completion. But somebody had another bright idea. Somebody came with some more creative genius. But that creative genius actually almost fizzled, but then it was resurrected because of a mistake. Y'all, the older woman got tired. The older woman got tired, and Dr. Ray stopped responding to my text messages at 2:00 in the morning. He stopped answering my calls after 10 o'clock at night, and no, seriously, he responds. But
4:00 in the morning.
I forgot about. I didn't forget about it. The God honest truth was I was just being lazy, and I just want to do a carbon copy from last year, this year, because guess what? We had a whole bunch of stuff popping up with Clearview, Stillwell. The people was getting put out of Clearview. Stillwell had one elevator. Over in the cottages was getting their property sold. They about to get put out of those places. And it was so much going on in the city. I'm fighting on council folks stealing money left and right. I'm like, what? Oh, Kwanzaa. And so I just packaged the program and went with it. But Miss Polly at Cake Giant, she came out almost every night of Kwanzaa. And in the end, she said, how can I be a part of this next year? And I said, Miss Polly, we're going to make your restaurant one of the restaurants. And then we didn't. And so in true fashion, Dr. Toure went and did what he does best and unified us and brought us together collectively. So guess what? Another new element of Kwanzaa on the 8th day. Are y'all with me still? Somebody say the 8th day. Somebody say the 8th day. On the 8th day.
The 8th day.
we will have the Kwanzaa culmination event. The Derek Mello.
Yes. Yes.
You know
Look at God. Look at God. Look at God. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Oh, let me calm down.
See, what I'm going to do is that.
I forgot. You need to finish up. I forgot.
You usually don't chime in on my shows much. For you to come on with that word stuff, that's just straight disrespectful, sir.
No.
But I was saying on the 8th day, say new beginnings. New beginnings.
Yeah.
So listen, ain't no party like a Kwanzaa crowd party because the Kwanzaa crowd party don't stop. Ain't no party like a Kwanzaa crowd party because the Kwanzaa crowd party don't stop. Listen, we will be continuing the crawl at Miss Polly Cake Giants on Ogeechee Road. We're going to have a concert, vendors. Oh, gosh, it's going to be fabulous. We're going to have a culmination event on the 8th day of Kwanzaa, but it will actually be on January 2nd.
Mm-hmm.